Hi everyone, welcome to Greeklish Outdoors. Today we are looking at hollow point pellets for 2.2 air rifles. Are they all just the same? We're going to find out today. So, stick around. So I've chosen a variety of different pellets from various manufacturers to give a good spread of the range of hollow point pellets which are out there. So let's go into details of each pellet I've chosen for this testing. First up is the Artemis Snow Peak hollow point pellets. These are 15.9 grains or 1.03 grams. They are €5.90 for 250, which works out as 2.36 cents per pellet. Next we have the Stoga X Hollow. These are 18.21 grains or 1.28 grams. €7.90 for 200, which is 3.95 cents per pellet. Then we have the Apollo Domed Hollow, which are 14.6 grains or 0.95 grams, €5.90 for 250, which works out as 2.36 cents per pellet. The H&N Crow Magnum Hollow Points are 18.21 grains or 1.18 grams, €6.90 for 200, which is 3.45 cents per pellet. The Gammo x10 Hollow Points are 15.43 grains or 1 gram, €6.50 for 250 pellets, and that works out as 2.6 cents per pellet. And finally the Norica Hollow Points, which are 15 grains or 0.97 grams, €6.10 for 250, that works out as 2.44 cents per pellet. As you see from that, I've chosen a variety of pellets with different weights, different prices. To test these today, we're going to be looking at power output through the air gun I've chosen. We're going to check their accuracy, and we're going to look at their penetration and also their deformity as well. Today we're going to be testing these pellets through the Norica Langley Hitman. This is a .22 air gun which I've previously reviewed on the channel. It's a nice spring piston 2.2 air gun which I think is going to work really well for these tests. First up, let's look at accuracy. So straight away we can see that they all did pretty well. The groupings on 4 of them are fairly tight. I would say the weakest grouping is for the Norica Hollow and the Artemis Snow Peaks, with the best being the X Hollow hollow point pellets. Right, if we look at pellet deformity here, these are the Snow Peaks. You can see they deform well compared to the original hollow point pellet. Definitely well deformed. Now we have the X Hollows. You can see again, compared to the original pellet, they deformed pretty well. So the Apollo Domed Hollows, really good deformity from hitting the back of that target compared to the original you see there. The H&N Crow pellets deformed really well compared to the original. You can see that one has almost turned itself inside out. Next up, the Gammo x10. These were probably the best pellet at deformity. You've seen this one is almost completely flat. That's the best deformity I've seen so far on these pellets. Finally, the Norica pellets. Wow, again, these were super deformed. You can see this one here. Similar to the Gammo pellet, really turned itself inside out. Here you can see the overall pellet deformity, showing deformity in high, medium or low. The best pellets for deformity as we saw with the Norica, Gammo and the H&N Crow. So that was the accuracy and deformity testing done. Now let's get these pellets over the chronograph and see if the power output varies between pellet to pellet. So let's look at the chronograph figures for these pellets. First of all, the pellet velocity. You'd expect the lightest pellet to be going the fastest, which in this case is the Apollo, but it turns out that that is not the case. The Snow Peak pellets were the fastest, with an average velocity of 358.9 feet per second or 109.4 meters per second. The slowest, again you would expect the heaviest pellets, which is the X-Hollow and the H&N Crow. Actually, it was just the H&N Crow with 306.2 feet per second or 93.3 meters per second. That is over 5 feet per second slower than the X-Hollow, which is the exact same weight. So that is slightly surprising, potentially because the H&N Crows are quite a tight fit in the barrel. Moving on to power output. Well, again, the Snow Peak pellets were the most powerful out of the barrel at 4.6 foot-pounds or 6.2 joules. Remember, this is actually classed as an air pistol we're firing them through, so you're not going to get super high velocities and powers. The pellet with the lowest power is the heaviest pellet, which is the H&N Crow, with 3.8 foot-pounds or 5.1 joules. So let's rate these pellets on quality. You might think this is a little bit subjective, but I am going to use certain criteria to do this, including overall look of the pellets, the amount of dust in the pellet tin, the amount of dint or damage on the pellets in the tin, and also the consistency between pellet to pellet. The results for the quality of the pellets. There was a maximum of 8 points on offer here, 2 for each category I mentioned before. The Snow Peak pellets got a score of 6. I deducted 1 off the overall look because they had a few scratches and marks on the pellets, and also 1 point off for consistency because there were a few moulding issues where there's a little bit extra lead in the base of the pellet. The Apollo pellets got 7 points. Everything was fine apart from, again, consistency, a little bit of extra lead, so moulding issue again. But apart from that, they were fine. And the X-Hollow, H&N Crow, the Gammo ×10 and the Norica hollow points all got a perfect score of 8. There was nothing wrong with the pellets, no marks, no moulding issues. The pellets were very consistent and no dust in the tins either. Now we're going to check out damage and penetration. So for damage, I've got these clay pigeons. For each pellet, I'm going to line 4 up. We're going to fire head on and see how many of these clay pigeons we can make it through, and also how much damage it does overall. So that was interesting. I thought they might have made it further than 2 of the clay pigeon targets, but every single one they stopped at 2. Some of them rocked the actual holder a little bit more, and some of the back ones actually fell over. But yeah, all were stopped in 2 clay pigeons. Unfortunately, I've run out of ballistics gel, so we're going to have to use a substitute today for the penetration test. And I've got some bags of flour, 3 bags lined up. How many of these bags of flour will the pellets make it through? At the minute, from the last test with this air gun, I'm thinking probably just 1, but let's find out. The Artemis pellet came out the back went into the second bag and did not come out of there. So it's somewhere in bag number 2. So the X hollow points straight in at the front, straight out the back, into this bag. No, nothing into the next one. So again, it's in the second bag somewhere. Well, as you see, it had enough power to knock the 3 bags over. Let's see if it went through. Straight through number 1, into number 2. It didn't come out of number 2 though, and into number 3. So the crow straight through number 1, into number 2, throwing loads of flour out, and did not come out the other side. So the gamma went in, came out, splashed flour on the other one, but no, didn't come out the other side. So the Norica went in, came out, splashed on the bag number 2, actually came out and splashed flour on number 3, actually hit it, but the pellet ricocheted off. So the only one to make it through a full 2 bags is the Norica hollow points. So we can see here from this testing that basically all the pellets seem to perform the same in terms of damage. With the penetration in the flour, the only one that made it through the full 2 bags was the Norica hollow point. So that's our testing done. Let's head back to the office and we'll go through the data and discover if there really is a difference between hollow points and which one is the best. So this is the overall points table showing all the results from the tests we've done today. If you want to look at this in more detail, please press pause now. So this is the overall rankings. You can see here that the Apollo and the Artemis pellets came in joint first place with 38 points, second place the Gamma hollow points, and in third place the Norica hollow points. A little bit surprised and disappointed that the 2 most expensive pellets seem to perform under conditions today the worst. So that was the results from our overall testing. You can see there is a difference between each hollow point, at least in the gun I was using today. Some of the differences in the results could be put down to the pellet's shape, size and weight, and often pellets do work differently in certain guns. Surprisingly though, the Norica pellets were a little bit loose in the barrel, whereas other pellets seem to be a little bit more snug. Of the pellets, if I was going to choose one to carry forward to continue using, then I would choose the Apollo domed. Overall, yes, they were joint with the Artemis, but the fact they had much better accuracy kind of swings the deal for me. So that was the overall testing completed. What did you think of the results? Is there something you would have done differently to test these? Hopefully next time when I test pellets, I will have the ballistics gel back in stock again. Apologies for that today. I know this video is a little bit geeky, but I hope you found it somewhat useful. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, perhaps you'd like to do so today. But for now, thanks for watching, take care, much love, see you next time.